Welcome to Sorcery and Shadows. Enchanting magic, shivering horrors.
In the heart of a quaint little town, nestled between misty hills, there lay an old graveyard. The townsfolk spoke of it in hushed tones, weaving tales of restless spirits and eerie happenings under the moonlit sky. It was said that the graveyard held secrets darker than the night itself. Among the villagers, young Thomas was the most intrigued by the stories surrounding the graveyard. His curiosity often led him to wander near its wrought iron gates, peering through the bars as if trying to glimpse the mysteries hidden within. His friends warned him against it, but Thomas couldn't resist the allure of the unknown.
One chilly autumn evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and shadows stretched across the land, Thomas found himself standing before the graveyard once again. The air was thick with anticipation, and a sense of foreboding hung heavy in the air. Ignoring the nagging voice of reason in his mind, Thomas pushed open the creaking gates and stepped inside.
The graveyard was bathed in an ethereal glow, the moonlight casting eerie shadows among the tombstones. Thomas felt a shiver run down his spine as he made his way through the rows of weathered graves. It was then that he heard it, the faint whispering of voices carried on the night breeze.
He froze in place, straining to make out the words. The voices seemed to be coming from all around him, their words indecipherable, yet filled with an otherworldly sorrow. Trembling, Thomas pressed on, determined to uncover the source of the whispers. As he ventured deeper into the graveyard, the whispers grew louder, their haunting melody echoing in his ears. Suddenly, Thomas stumbled upon a forgotten mausoleum hidden in the shadows. Its stone walls were covered in moss and the heavy door stood slightly ajar, beckoning him inside.
With a mixture of trepidation and curiosity, Thomas pushed open the door and stepped into the darkness within. The air was thick and musty, and the only sound was the echo of his own footsteps against the cold stone floor. As his eyes adjusted to the dim light, Thomas gasped in horror at what he saw. The walls of the mausoleum were lined with coffins, their lids askew and empty. But it was not the sight of the empty coffins that filled Thomas with dread. It was the figures that stood before him, their forms draped in tattered burial shrouds. The whispers reached a crescendo, swirling around him like a sinister symphony. Thomas realized with a sinking heart that he was not alone. The spirits of the graveyard had awakened, their restless souls trapped between the worlds of the living and the dead. Paralyzed with fear, Thomas watched as the specters closed in around him, their ghostly forms shimmering in the faint light. He could feel their cold, clammy hands reaching out to him, their mournful cries echoing in his mind. But just as all hope seemed lost, Thomas remembered something, a tale his grandmother had once told him of a forgotten ritual said to banish restless spirits from the mortal realm. With the trembling hands, he fumbled in his pocket for the old book she had given him, its pages yellowed with age and filled with arcane symbols. As the specters drew closer, Thomas began to recite the incantation, his voice shaky but determined. With each word, he felt a surge of energy course through him, pushing back against the darkness that threatened to consume him. And then, in a blinding flash of light, the spirits were gone, fading into the night. Thomas stood alone in the mausoleum, the weight of his ordeal heavy upon him. But as he emerged from the shadows of the graveyard, he felt a sense of triumph unlike any he had ever known. From that day forth, Thomas never again ventured near the old graveyard, content to leave its secrets buried in the past. But deep down, he knew that he would never forget the night he faced the whispering shadows and emerged victorious against the darkness that lurked within.
Please like, share and subscribe our channel. We hope to see you in our next mystical and horrified journey.